All right, go team.
It was an Easter weekend.
This meeting of the Municipal Council will now come to order. Please all stand and join me in the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I entertain a motion to approve the records of March 5th.
Second.
The motion is in order. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. The motion passes. Let's see. I entertain a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
The motion is in order. This requires a voice vote. The reason for the suspension of rules this evening is I did invite Barry Lacasse, our Director of Budget Administration, to come down and give us an update on the Sanford Street lot. That requires a voice vote, and we will start with Councilor Jackson.
You say voice?
No, I didn't mean voice, I mean roll call.
Ms. Jackson?
I'm just getting warmed up over here.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Delicio?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Acting President Parika?
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. The motion passes. I entertain a motion to go into committee of the whole.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we are now acting in committee of the whole. Mr. Lacasse, if you would like to come to the podium. Thank you very much for coming down this evening, and it was on short notice. I gave you a call this morning and asked for you to give us an update on the Sanford Street lot where we approved some funding to make the repairs. I thought it would be helpful to let the public know what's going on.
Of course. Thank you for inviting me. Acting President Parika, members of the council, my name is Barry Lacasse. As the acting president just mentioned, I was invited down here to give an update on the parking garage project. We all know where the parking garage is. It's a 33-year-old structure. Late last year, this honorable body approved a $375,000 appropriation from free cash to do some significant repairs to that garage. That money, coupled with $100,000 from Chapter 90 funds, brings the budget to $475,000. We, in January, signed a engineering agreement with Kleinfelder Incorporated, the firm out of Boston that has extensive experience in parking garage structures. We asked them to assess and prioritize the needed repairs, draft any necessary bid documents, and thirdly, to oversee the actual construction. The engineers believe that closing the garage for June and July achieves at least three significant goals. First, it ensures the safety of our parking customers and eliminates all possible claims for damages to parked vehicles during construction. Secondly, it shortens the repair timeline. And three, it should yield the lowest bid price possible because the contractor will have full site control and won't have to work around an active garage. So with those three goals in mind, the engineers concluded that closing the garage in June and July is the best option, especially since June and July tend to be your months where most people take vacations, and so that offered another opportunity. So at this point, we have the following schedule for the construction. On May 2nd, the bid documents will be available to all contractors. By May 23rd, those bid results will be coming in. June 7th would be our planned notice to proceed for the contractors. During the months of June and July, the construction occurs, and we're hoping to reopen the garage in the first week of August. Now, as the bids come back, we might find that in addition to lower prices, we might find a shorter construction period based upon the contractor's full access to the site. So we're hopeful of that. But this is the estimate as we know it now. So naturally, what does the closing of the garage mean to our parking customers? And we have parking customers on North Main Street, on Sanford Street, on Bank Street, and of course in the Sanford garage. But like most construction projects that involve vehicles, there's going to be some inconvenience. There has to be. But we believe, given the time of year and the amount of outreach that we have already done and plan to do in the future, we can utilize the 3 surrounding parking lots to accommodate the overflow vehicles. There are 181 parking spaces in the municipal garage right now. There's 1 handicap spot, 15 reserved for free 2-hour parking, 16 leased to an adjacent condominium complex, and then 149 spaces that are available for monthly, quarterly parking passes. But on average, only about 100 of those 149 leased pass spaces are actually occupied. Today, for example, there were roughly only 76 spaces that were being used. And this is a vacation week, so we know that vacation equals less activity in the parking garage and in the adjoining parking lots. So we can probably expect the same results in June and July. So the Bank Street lot has 46 spaces available for pass parking. It has other spaces. It has 2-hour parking and that handicap spots, but it has 46 parking pass spaces. We'll be using 16 of those to accommodate the 16 lease spaces in the parking garage. Those are the spaces that are leased to a condominium complex, so we're going to put them over there. We've already reached out to the condominium association to let them know what we're planning on doing. So we expect that the Bank Street lot can absorb at least another 15 parking pass customers. Next, we have the Sanford Street lot. We'll call it the YMCA lot. The YMCA has a license agreement, not a lease agreement. That license agreement gives them non-exclusive access to those spaces for their members. They have approximately 129 spaces in that lot. So I've already reached out to the executive director, Robin McDonald, about this project. She had recommended perhaps we could use some of the spaces at the Academy building for her employees during construction. That'll free up additional spaces in the main parking lot. The North Main Street or the library lot has approximately 55 spaces available. This does not include the 20 free parking for library patrons. Those are not going to be impacted whatsoever. These are just the pay spaces. And again, I've reached out to the director, Christine Johnson, about this project and informed her what our plans are. In addition to these opportunities, we still think there are other opportunities, if needed, around that area. And this might include on-street parking. We're not sure yet. We don't know if we're going to need that, but if we do, we can be ready to accommodate that as well. So these repairs are a continuation of a multi-year improvement plan for the parking garage. Most recently, we've had lighting upgrades. If you've gone through it, you'll notice that the lights turn on as you're walking through it. We have installed 13 security cameras, which have already proved to be invaluable, both from the police department's point of view, because they've been able to apprehend some suspects on a couple of occasions, but I think as a deterrent as well. So we're trying to make that structure safe, and now we're trying to make it even better with these improvements. So what we're asking for is everybody's understanding and everybody's patience in the months of June and July. What you're going to get are the repairs that everybody wants and needs. If you've ever been through that parking garage when it's raining out on the first floor, it is like a rainforest. The drains don't operate, you can see the concrete spalling all around. There are just so many things that need to be addressed in this project that this will bring new life back into that parking structure. It's really an investment into its future. So in addition to the public the reaching out that we've already done with the library director, the YMC director, the condo association, I'm here tonight hoping to get a good article from Mr. Rhodes. We will also have updates on the city's website. I'm available, Kathy Rigo is available, and Gail Clark is also available to answer any questions from anyone that has any concerns or questions about the project going forward. We're hoping for a shorter construction period, but this is, I think, our best bet. So again, I want to thank you for inviting me down here, and as always, my door's always open for any of you that have any questions or your constituents have questions.
Thank you, Barry. Does anyone have any questions? If I could make one small suggestion, just as I was thinking about this at home, our fiscal year ends July 1st, and I know that we do leasing. I'm not sure if we do leasing month to month or how that works. So I'm not sure if some of the individuals that currently have a lease would opt to do something else or anything like that. So I don't know how that would affect the city clerk's office or anything like that. So I would suggest that maybe you have a conversation with the city clerk about that.
Well, just let me, if I could just clarify. So the only leased spaces are for the condo association. They're the only ones that have a long-term lease, which this honorable body approved. All the other parking pass spaces are through a purchase from the clerk's office for a monthly or a quarterly parking pass. And those parking passes, are put on your dashboard, and that allows you to park in the parking garage, Bank Street, Sanford Street, and now North Main Street as well. So as long as they display their monthly or their quarterly parking pass, as they normally would do, then the enforcement will leave them alone. And speaking of enforcement, I know that during the months of June and July when this is happening, we're going to have a conversation with our parking enforcement officer, and we're going to make sure that he understands what's at stake here, and that we're going to be very flexible with the inconvenience that I know this is going to cause.
Terrific. That's great. Thank you. All right. If you have nothing else to add?
I have nothing else.
Well, thank you very much for coming in. I appreciate it very much. And again, it was on such short notice, and I really do appreciate you dropping everything and coming down here tonight for me.
Anytime.
So thank you. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Is there anyone else who would like to make comments in front of Committee of the Whole? Anybody else? Okay, I entertain a motion to arise from Committee of the Whole. All those motions in order. All those in favor? Aye. And we have arisen from Committee of the Whole, and we will move into. We have a couple of public hearings this evening, and
Okay, the first one is a continued public hearing relative to the application of a special permit from Major Bloom LLC.
that has been continued till May 7th.
We have a continued public hearing relative to the school property located at 135 County Street and the associated parking lot at 0 Cora Street that are no longer needed for school purposes and may be transferred to the city. In accordance with Section 2-11.2 of the city ordinances, the city will declare that the old high school, 135 County Street, and the parking lot at 0 Cora Street will be available for disposition. The old high school and 0 Cora Street are currently assessed at $6,303,900 and $125,600 respectively.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone here to speak in favor? If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Ellen Parker, 65 Norgate Road, Attleboro.
Thank you.
I think I'm speaking in favor. I wasn't really sure where I belonged, if it was favor or either or, but I'm under the realization that we're putting it out to bid, so that's what I'm speaking to. So I guess I'm kind of in favor. So anyway, you can put it wherever you want to categorize me. So I'm here to just ask you to consider the old Brennan architecturally. And I refer to it the old Brennan because it was the old high school, but in my mind it's the old Brennan. And I was really happy to read in the newspaper that both Sarah Reynolds and Peter Blair spoke to keeping the facades. That was really heartening to me. And I just want to make sure that when you put it out to bid, that you do that, putting the deed restriction on it to keep the exterior and the facades as it currently looks, because that is the building. It's concerning when I read a school committee member who spoke to the memories, and it was a nostalgic, kind of a nostalgic trip, and how folks are very nostalgic, myself included. And I have great memories of Brennan. My mom went to high school there. I went to junior high there, not middle school, because we didn't have middle school then, we had junior high. And I have a lot of great memories there. I have a lot of friendships that were made at Brennan that I still have today. And, we have an unofficial Facebook page where it's like the class of 19-something. I'm not going to give you the date, but we all kind of go in there and we talk about what's going on in Attleboro, and, this has come up, and, people speak to the memories and the dances and things that we did have there. So there is a lot of memories. However, the old Brennan is more than just memories. It's a beautiful piece of architecture. Just can't build them like that anymore, and due to cost. And it's a beautiful neoclassical building. The only other one I would think in Attleboro, and even in a little bit around the area, would be the old post office. So it is a beautiful building, and to lose that building on the hill would be a travesty. And while the old Brennan is not Notre Dame, it's our majestic building. It's one of our focal points. It's ornate in character. It's gorgeous. I mean, I can't imagine the city without that building, whether it's obviously not a school, whether it's apartments, or whatever it becomes. So it took us a while to find folks to do justice to the old Bliss School, the old fire station, the post office, the academy. It's never easy to the easy thing is just to say whatever. But easy isn't always the best thing, so I'm asking you to take your time, put the deed restrictions on it, and keep the exterior of the building for future generations as part of our New England culture and our city's history. And I want to just add one thing. When I was doing something with DAR that I was a state chairman of, and I was talking to one of my colleagues in California, and we owned the little DAR house, the 1723 house. She was just blown away by that. And people come here to see our history and see our buildings. And strip malls, this building is beautiful. So I'm just asking you to put those deed restrictions on there and make sure that we still have that beautiful facade and building to look at.
Thank you, Ellen. Does anyone have any questions for the speaker? Thank you very much. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor? If you would be so kind as to state your name and address for the record.
Marion Wrightington, 42 North Avenue, the Attleboro Historical Commission. And I have to say, it sounds like Ellen and I had talked recently. I haven't seen Ellen for quite a while now, and I'm going to say just about everything she said, but I'll do it in my way. I started off by saying the Sun Chronicle had said that Councilor Blaze had suggested that the city require a preservation restriction of the facade as part of the sale agreement. How about preservation of the entire building? The Historical Commission would like to see a building which has been such an important part of our history, our skyline, our citizens' lives, preserved and certainly not demolished. We don't know if a prospective buyer would even consider that, but just in case. We need to find new uses for our old buildings so they can live on and with a new and productive function. Attleboro's already doing that all over the city. Just like Ellen said, the old fire station is the senior center. The old post office has 3 functions. The Sweet House is the literacy center. Bliss School and Hebron Mill are beautiful housing complexes. And just look at the Armory. It's the recreation center, and there's kids in there every single day. And it's wonderful for them to see what that building is like and then find out what it was for. They're all serving a new useful purpose, and they still look beautiful. And they not only keep that old charm and character for the city, but they preserve our city's history. Our children need to see where we came from. Please do what you can to make the sale agreement not allow a demolition and find a new buyer with a great new use. And another thing that Ellen had said about people coming here, I hadn't thought of saying anything like that, but my house is on the internet as being one of the oldest houses in Attleboro and a Capron house. And I've had people come from California, Minnesota, Arizona, and everything else just to see my house. And when they come, they say, wow, Attleboro is really something. And they're really impressed by the other old buildings that we have standing that have found new uses. So that's a very important thing to think about. And I just hope that you can put some kind of a restriction on the deed to be able to preserve the whole building. Okay?
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Oh, did you have a question? My
I don't
apologies.
have questions. I just want to thank both of you for coming out because I think it's important that it gets some notoriety and that we do keep the integrity of the facade at least, if not the entire portions of inside the building. but find a reuse for it that fits. That's what I think is important. So I appreciate you coming out tonight.
Is there anyone else here to speak in favor? If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name's Amanda Muller, and my address is 140 County Street. So, clearly, I live very close to the high school. I live across the street from it, and so I guess this is a little bit, in some ways, more important to me, and in other ways, not as, because I don't have quite the emotional tie, but I can say that in moving to Attleboro, as I just moved to Attleboro last year.
Welcome.
Thank you. Moving to Attleboro, the house that I purchased, when I saw the high school across the street from it, I kind of was able to ignore a few things about the house, the foundation, a few other issues that were kind of big because it's such a beautiful area. And looking out the front and seeing that beautiful high school that the citizens built for their students and for the future of their town, that's just an amazing thing to see. It's not just a testament to the past, it's really a testament to the attitude that the people of Attleboro have towards building a future and, shaping young minds. I have a daughter who's 2 and will soon be entering preschool in Attleboro, and I have heard nothing but wonderful things about Attleboro schools. Everyone has such wonderful things to say. And the thing is, you can see from the building, from knowing that over 100 years ago, the people made this huge investment to build this beautiful school. And this city is a very lovely city, and I'm very happy to be here. But I really do hope that in selling it, as I know you need to sell it, it's very important that you are able to keep the deed restriction, to keep that facade, to keep sending that message to future generations that the future of Attleboro is important and that these young minds are important. And this is such a great opportunity for the city to find something that lifts up the city going forward even more. Beyond holding on to the facade, you can hopefully be able to bring in someone. If you bring in an apartment developer, maybe, I don't know exactly what the zoning code is for the high school, but I'm assuming there will have to be some change. Hopefully that will be able to be something where the city can negotiate some amount of affordable housing or moderate income housing if they do that, or, something similar to that where this can be something that can be a positive in so many ways for the city. So I do hope that is the case, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the speaker? Thank you very much.
No, but I'll just thank you too, Amanda, because I think we have somebody, so I'm going to hold my thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak in favor? If you would be so gracious as to state your name and address for the record.
My name is Bill Bowles, 65 Norgate Road in beautiful Attleboro. Before I get started, I've been here a long time, and it's really encouraging to see new people that come into the city actually come in and try to petition their government to make Attleboro a better place. So that was encouraging for me to see that. As we know, Attleboro is very unique in lots of different ways. But when we come into the city, we see the Bliss School. And fortunately, the Bliss School had a reuse, and the outside of it looks very much like the Bliss School of the days of yesteryear. So kudos for that. We go downtown and we see historic buildings like the library, the Bronson Building, the Bates Building. These really speak to what Attleboro is. The post office. Unfortunately, we recently lost in South Attleboro the old Washington School. The Academy Building, special architecture. And when I was on the council years ago, we took some steps to try to help preserve that and it's now the home of the Historic Preservation Society. And the old post office. we had a reuse for that. We've got the Registry of Motor Vehicles in there, and the building inspector and so forth. So progress is inevitable, and it's really how we manage the progress. And I think that this council has a very unique opportunity to decide how the old high school on County Street is going to be sold. You could put it up to, you could accept it, and put it out to bid with no restrictions, and it might have a fate similar to Bliss School, or it might get torn down. Or you can control the destiny of the school somewhat by putting some reasonable deed restrictions on. And I would urge the council to put on a deed restriction to save the facade of the building at least. And I would prefer to see the outside four walls of the structure preserved. But what goes on inside is not anything that you really can control. But when we're driving up County Street and you look at that great piece of architecture, I would love to be able to continue to see that, and I don't see any reason why that can't be. So I would ask this council to put on those deed restrictions.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak in favor? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Anyone to speak in opposition? Anyone here to speak neither for nor against? Councilor Reynolds, did you have anything to add?
I just really want to thank the 4 people that came out. It was my concern, as you know, and I carried out over the hearing for another couple of weeks so that people would come out, because I thought that it hadn't gotten enough press. So I'm thankful that people that really care about the architecture of the city actually took the time to come out, and it means a lot, and I hope this council does move forward with some kind of restrictions when we put it out to bid. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you see any reason to keep this public hearing open?
I do not.
Okay, that public hearing has been closed. Thank you.
Okay, moving right along, the next public hearing regards the application for an amended license to store flammable and combustible liquids for Pedro Service Station, 21 South Avenue, Attleboro, in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 148 of Mass General Law.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak in favor? Anyone to speak in favor? Anyone to speak in opposition? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Anyone here to speak neither for nor against? Is there anyone here to speak neither for nor against? Councilor Dolan, do you feel any reason to keep this public hearing open?
I don't.
No, thank you. The public hearing has been declared closed. Thank you.
Okay. The next public hearing is relative to the capital improvement program for fiscal years 2020 to 2024.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the capital improvements program? Is there anyone here to speak in favor? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Is there anyone here to speak neither for nor against? Councilor Conti, do you see any reason to keep this public hearing open?
I do not.
Thank you very much. I declare that public hearing has been closed. Thank you very much. And we shall move on to the mayor's communication.
Okay. April 16th, 2019, dear municipal councilors. I respectfully submit a communication from Director of Recreation Dennis Wallace regarding the need for funds to purchase various materials and supplies for the remainder of the fiscal year. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $5,000 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account Recreation Supplies, Recreational Grounds. Upon approval, the available balance from Reserve Fund for transfer will be $61,135.97. Copies in your packets.
Public Works, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Fire Chief Scott T. LaChance regarding the need to increase the expenditure limit for revolving fund number 2610 fire ambulances in order to provide additional capacity to pay current expenditures associated with providing EMS service. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body, under the provisions of Chapter 44, Section 53E.5 as amended, to approve the expenditure limit of $1,200,000 for revolving fund number 2610 fire ambulances outlined under Chapter 20 20 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro for the remainder of fiscal year 2019. Copies in your packets.
Budget Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from City Treasurer Laura Gignac regarding the need for funds to pay the MedEx for non-school and non-enterprise employees. A review of the MedEx account reveals that additional funding will be required to cover the anticipated expenses for the remainder of fiscal year 2019. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body appropriate $47,000 from undesignated fund balance free cash general government to account Treasurer Medicare tax. Copies in your packets.
Budget Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from City Auditor Deborah Gould regarding the appropriation of unused prior year encumbrance funds to the school. As you know, the annual end-of-year report for Attleboro Public Schools requires unexpended prior year encumbrance amounts to be reflected on the report. In fiscal year 2019, $75,463.50 of prior fiscal year 2018 encumbrances remain unexpended for the school department. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to appropriate $75,463.50 from account General Fund Reserve for Encumbrances to account Insurance Programs Health HMOs. Please note this account has been identified by the school department. Copies in your package. In order to be able to process this request for the end of fiscal year 2019 deadline, I hereby request your honorable body to consider this prior to June 30th, 2019.
Budget Committee, please.
For your information, I respectfully submit a communication from Health Officer Christopher Quinn, MD, regarding the appointment of Deputy Health Agent to the position of Acting Health Agent effective April 8, 2019, due to the fact that the health agent will be on leave of a medical nature. Also, for your information, due to the anticipated retirement of the current Deputy Health Agent sometime in the autumn of 2019, it is the intention of Health Officer Christopher Quinn, MD, to seek and hire a new Deputy Health Agent so that there is minimal disruption fulfilling the public health needs to the residents of the City of Attleboro. Moreover, with these anticipated changes, the Health Department will need additional funds in the salary line for the remainder of fiscal year 2019. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $2,000 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account Health Salary. Upon approval, the available balance in Reserve Fund for transfer will be $59,135.97. Copies in your packets.
Personnel and Human Services Committee,
I
please.
respectfully submit for confirmation by your honorable body the appointment of Joan Lesperance, 4 Hodges Street, apartment 406, Attleboro, to fill an unexpired term on the Council on Substance Abuse Prevention. Term to expire February 2020. Copies in your packets.
Personnel and Human Services, please.
I respectfully submit for confirmation by your honorable body the appointment of Scott Horan, 406 Tiffany Street, Attleboro, to fill an unexpired term on the Traffic Study Commission. Term to expire February 2020. Copies in your packets.
Personnel and Human Services.
I respectfully submit for confirmation by your honorable body the appointment of Bonnie Moore, 68 Bishop Street, Attleboro, to fill an unexpired term on the Conservation Commission. Term to expire February 2022. Copies in your packets.
Personnel and Human Services.
I respectfully submit for confirmation by your honorable body the appointment of Fred Uriot, 1010 Oak Hill Ave, Attleboro, to fill an unexpired term on the Planning Board. Term to expire February 2021. Copies in your packets.
Personnel and Human Services.
I respectfully submit for confirmation by your honorable body the appointment of Mary Flaherty, 358 South Main Street, Attleboro, to fill an unexpired term on the Council on Human Rights. Term to expire February 2020. Copies in your packets.
Personnel and Human Services, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Water, Courtney Winchell, regarding the need to replenish funds used to cover the cost for assistance with the state-mandated Water Management Act permit renewal after an internal transfer was made. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $24,871.95 from account Water Enterprise Fund, Reserve Fund for transfer to account Water Enterprise Fund Sewer Service. Copies in your packets.
Public Works, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Parks and Forestry regarding the donation to set up and install an exterior Wi-Fi system to cover the walking paths and buildings throughout the zoo with an estimated value of $19,885.34 from the Friends of Capron Park Zoo. In accordance with this Section 1-12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body to accept these generous donations to the City of Attleboro. Copies in your packets.
City Property and Claims, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Wastewater, Thomas Hayes, regarding the need for funds for telephone services to the end of fiscal year 2019. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $2,000 from account Wastewater Enterprise Fund, Reserve Fund for transfer to account Wastewater Enterprise Fund Telephone. Copies in your packets.
Public Works, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Wastewater, Thomas Hayes, regarding the need for funds for heating to the end of fiscal year 2019. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $6,000 from account wastewater enterprise fund, reserve fund for transfer, to account wastewater enterprise fund heating. Copies in your packets.
Public Works, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Wastewater Thomas Hayes regarding the need for funds for lights and power to the end of fiscal year 2019. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body appropriate $28,000 from account wastewater enterprise fund retained earnings to account wastewater enterprise fund lights and power, and additionally transfer $4,000 from account wastewater enterprise fund reserve fund for transfer to account wastewater enterprise fund lights and power. Copies in your packets.
Public Works, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Building Commissioner William McDonough regarding proposed ordinance changes to have the electrical inspector's job changed from a full-time employee position to an appointed position, and also some minor changes in the same section for housekeeping purposes. City Solicitor Cynthia Amara reviewed the changes and approved them to form. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body vote on the following amendment. 1. Delete section 3-1.4 and replace with the following. 3-1.4 Compensation of Inspectors. The inspectors of plumbing and gas shall receive as compensation for services rendered 65% of the gross amount of the inspection fees generated and collected by the discharge of his or her duties. The inspector of wires shall receive as compensation for services rendered 65% of the gross amount of the inspection fees generated and collected by discharge of his or her duties. The assistant inspectors of wires, plumbing, and gas shall be paid $25 per inspection. 2. Delete section 3.2.3-2.1 and replace with the following. 3-2.1 Organization. The Inspector of Buildings, in compliance with Mass General Law 142, Section 11, shall appoint an Inspector of Gas Piping and Gas Appliances in buildings for a term of 3 years, subject to the confirmation of the Municipal Council. The Inspector of Gas and Piping and Gas Appliances in buildings shall be qualified in accordance with the provisions of Mass Code for installation of gas appliances and gas pumping and general law, and shall receive such salary as the Inspector of Buildings, subject to the approval of the Municipal Council, shall from time to time determine. 3. Delete section 3-2.3 and replace with the following. 3.2-3 Powers and Duties. The Inspector of Gas, Piping, and Gas Appliances in buildings, under the general supervision and control of the Inspector of Buildings, shall enforce the provisions of Massachusetts Code for the installation of gas appliances and gas piping and any other applicable statutes, rules, and regulations or ordinances, and act on any question pertaining to gas fittings or installation. 4. Delete section 3-3.1 and replace with the following. 3-3.1 Organization. The Inspector of Buildings, in accordance with Mass General Law 142, Section 11, shall appoint an Inspector of Plumbing for a term of 3 years, subject to confirmation of the Municipal Council from those persons who have qualified under the Civil Service Eligible List of the City in accordance with the Civil Service laws, rules, and regulations. The Inspector of Plumbing shall receive a salary as the Inspector of Buildings, subject to the approval of the Municipal Council from time to time determined. 5. Delete 3-3.2 and replace with the following. 3-3.2 Powers and Duties. The Inspector of Plumbing, under the supervision and control of the Inspector of Buildings, shall enforce the provisions of Mass State Plumbing Code and any other applicable statutes, rules, regulations, or ordinances, and act on any question concerning plumbing. 6. Delete 3-4.2 and replace with the following. The Inspector of Wires, under the general supervision and control of the Inspector of Buildings, shall enforce the provisions of the Massachusetts State Electrical Code and any other applicable statutes, rules, regulations, or ordinances, and act on any questions concerning wires designed to carry electric, light, heat, or power current. 7. Insert the following into the end of section 3-7. The Inspector of Wires shall receive as compensation for services rendered 65% of the gross amount of the inspection fees generated and collected by the discharge of his or her duties. 8. Delete section 20-3.2 and replace with the following. 20-3.2 Revenues. The City Auditor shall establish the Protective Inspection Services Fund, number 2603, as a separate fund and credit to the fund 65% of the fees paid for plumbing and gas inspection permits and 65% of the fees paid for electrical inspection permits when needed to be performed by an outside contractor. 9, delete section 20-3.3 and replace with the following. 20-3.3, purposes and expenditures. During each fiscal year, the inspector of buildings, with the approval of the mayor, may incur liabilities against and spend monies from the Protective Inspection Services Fund number 2603 for the cost of professional services as established by ordinance for appointed plumbing and gas inspectors, inspectors of wires, and all alternate inspectors. Furthermore, I hereby request your honorable body to hold a public meeting at the appropriate time on the above ordinance change. Moreover, it is requested that the proposed ordinance changes take place prior to July 1st, 2019. Copies in your packets.
Ordinance Committee, please.
And do you want to do a public hearing?
Yes. Mr. Waterman, in Councilor Holmes' absence, would you like to call for a public hearing on May 7th?
Yes, I make a motion that we have a public hearing on this section, May 7th.
Thank you very much. Should I call for a public hearing on May 7th for that? Do we have to
favor?
vote on that?
Voice vote.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Jackson. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
All right. Sincerely, Paul Haru, Mayor. And then we have a second mayor's communication, April 16th, 2019, number 2. Dear Municipal Councilors, I respectfully submit a communication from Building Commissioner William McDonough regarding the need for funds due to the continued need for the electrical inspector position. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $9,650 from Protective Inspection salary to account Protective Inspection Professional Services. Copies in your packets.
Budget Committee, please.
Sincerely, Paul Haru, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Does anyone need to take a break? Moving right along.
We have another communication. Other communications. The first one is a communication dated April 5th, 2019 from Nicholas Calderon of 57 Beagle Club Road. Copies in your packets. And we received a communication from Mayor Paul Haru dated April 6, 2019, explaining Beagle Club Road proposal further. Copies in your packets.
Thanks very much.
And that is all.
Thank you, Steve. All right, we will move on to committee reports.
Nice job.
Well done.
A lot of reading.
And we'll start with Councilor Jackson.
Thank you. Reporting for Public Works Committee. This evening, from the docket of April 16, 2019, I move to approve the request of the mayor to appropriate $29,642 from account undesignated fund balance free cash general government account to account Public Works trench repairs regarding the need for funds to make repairs to roadways and sidewalks due to water breaks and other needed patchwork.
Second.
Thank you.
The motion is in order.
I don't have anything to say.
Okay.
Spoke last week. Thank you.
Any other questions or concerns? This is a roll call vote is required, and we will start with Councilor Reynolds.
Councilor Reynolds?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry. Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Delizio?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Acting President Parika?
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
The motion passes.
Thank you ever so kindly. From the docket of April 16, 2019, I move to approve the request of the mayor to appropriate $19,200 from account Wastewater Enterprise Fund retained earnings to account Wastewater Enterprise Fund improvements to HVAC regarding the need for funds for the replacement of the second stage pumping station HVAC unit.
Second.
Thank you.
The motion is in order. Any comments?
No, made them all last week, and we don't want any backups to any of our public homes.
There we have it. Any other questions or concerns? Okay, a roll call vote is required, and we will start with Councilor Jackson.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Delizio?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Acting President Parika?
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
The motion passes.
Thank you ever so kindly. I have no further business this evening, but I would like to call for a meeting next week at the appropriate time.
Thank you very much. Councilor Waterman.
The Personnel and Human Services Committee does not have any business this evening. I would like to call the next meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you very much. Councilor Conti.
Thank you. Reporting for Capital Improvement and City Development Committee from the docket of April 2nd, 2019, I move to approve that the mayor, on behalf of the city of Attleboro, be authorized to submit to the Department of Housing and Urban Development a proposed CDBG 5-year consolidated plan CDBG budget and proposed activities to be undertaken during the upcoming CDBG entitlement year. Upon approval, Mr. Arasian will submit the Community Development Block Grant budget to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development on before May 15th, 2019.
Second.
Thank you very much. The motion is in order. Any comments?
This is routine. There have been times when there's a presidential election that May 15th deadline gets very, very touchy. That's not the case this year. I think it'll be very smooth, but we did break up the motion this year into two motions, this motion and the following motion, to expressly give the council the, we'll talk about that in the next motion. So this is very routine, and I encourage my councilors for its passage.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, this requires a roll call vote, and we will start with Councilor Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Delicio?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Acting President Parika?
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
The motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of April 2nd, 2019, I move that once the final allocation for CDBG program year 2019 is released by the Department of Housing and Urban Development, the mayor requests your honorable board to approve increasing and decreasing funds proportionally in each proposed category.
Second.
Thank you very much. The motion is in order. Any comments?
Yes, this typically would be the function of the municipal council, that we would have to meet and approve either the increase or decrease in the budget because we control the checkbook. But in the presidential election years where things get so stressful, Deborah doesn't sleep for a month, and Community Development Block Grant Office is abuzz on a daily basis trying to figure out what Washington's going to do. So to alleviate that stress on a very good manager, who I have a deep respect for, last year, 2 years ago, we came up with the idea that if we take that off our plate and cede that responsibility to the mayor, we certainly can trust him to approve the increase or decrease, because we will be monitoring its progress and its budget over the course of the year. In addition to that, the Community Development Block Grant Office is very forthcoming in all of their budgetary and programs. Their door is open to any councilor at any time, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who has any questions or concerns? This also requires a roll call vote, and we will start with Councilor Jackson.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Delicio?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Acting President Parika?
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
The motion passes.
Thank you.
If you would like to waive the reading of the full on this, you can.
Okay, I'll be happy to waive the reading. From the docket of March 5th, 2019, I move to approve the following loan order. Ordered that $1,500,000 be appropriated for the permitting, bidding, construction oversight, and construction costs associated with plant upgrades to the city's water treatment plant.
Second. Thank you very much. The motion is in order. Any comments?
We've talked about this for a month, and I wish that we had the $1.5 million in a capital improvement fund in the wastewater department, and I may live to see that day, but the day's not here right now. We also don't have that $1.5 million in the reserve fund for transfer in the wastewater department or in the reserve fund account. So bonding is the only option. Fortunately, bonding is in the city's favor at this time, and I anticipate a favorable rate while we move toward an annual capital improvement budget, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or concerns? This also requires a roll call vote, and the vote will begin with Councilor Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Delicio?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Acting President Parika?
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
The motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of March 5th, 2019, I waive this reading as well. I move to approve the following loan order. Ordered that $700,000 be appropriated for the permitting, bidding, construction oversight, and construction costs associated with the replacement of approximately 8,800 linear feet of water mains and the restoration of Reed Street.
Second.
Thank you. That motion is in order. Any comments?
Yes. Similar to the wastewater department, I wish we had the $2,700,000 in a reserve fund or in a reserve or capital improvement fund, but we're not there yet. And Reed Street has the unfortunate happenstance that its entire water system under the pavement is failing. And repeated failings in the last 3 years have come to the conclusion that while the market is in our favor to bond a $2,700,000 at a hopefully low interest rate, which this year will not have any impact on the water rate, and give the good people of Reed Street a consistent supply of good water. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Councilor Conte. Any other comments or questions? This also requires a roll call vote, and we will start with Councilor Jackson.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Delissio?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Acting President Parika?
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
The motion passes.
So that concludes the business that the Capital Improvement City Development has to bring before the council. I'd remind the councilors that we have this wonderful book, and the people sitting at home, that this is now on the internet, and you can see $11,437,867, excluding obvious bonds that are included in this project. That splits out to $4,820,000 for the school department, $1,050,000 for the wastewater department, $1,698,000 for the water department, and the rest of it is everybody else. We'll be talking about this next week in committee, and we look forward to having a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you, Councilor Conte. Would you like to handle traffic and transportation now?
I would love to.
Thank you.
Reporting for Traffic and Transportation and Traffic Committee, from the docket of April 2nd, 2019, I move to strike the following. Correspondence dated March 12, 2019, from Attorney Stephen Andreoni, addressing City Ordinance 10-5 parking and the possibility of changes that pertains to Angeline Street.
Second.
Thank you very much. Any comments?
Yes, Angeline Street's beautiful and staying the way it is. Those are my comments.
Any additional comments? Excellent. A voice vote is required. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes.
Thank you. Transportation and Traffic Committee would like to have a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you, Councilor Conte. Councilor Blair.
Thank you. Parika. Report of Public Safety Emergency Management. I have 3 motions this evening. The first from the docket of April 16, 2019. I move to approve the request of the mayor to transfer $19,200 from account 1124100-578360 Citywide Reserve Fund for Compensations 53rd week to his accounts as follows. $13,500 to account 1220100-511000 Fire, Salary and Wages. $700 to account 1220100-514020 Fire, Night Differential, and $5,000 to account 1220100-513000 Fire Overtime.
Second.
Thank you very much. That motion is in order. Any comments?
And we talked about this in committee last week. I would hope everybody was satisfied.
Thank you. Any additional comments or questions? The motion is in order and requires a roll call vote, and we will start with Councilor Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Delissio?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Acting President Parika?
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
The motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of April 16, 2019, I move to approve the request of the mayor to transfer $2,500 from account 1124100-578300, citywide reserve fund for transfer to account 12201-000-548030, fire supplies vehicles, regarding the need for funds to purchase supplies to perform preventive maintenance and repairs of the fire apparatus and vehicles.
Second.
Thank you very much. The motion is in order. Any comments?
We went over this last week in committee.
Any additional comments or concerns? This requires a roll call vote, and we will start with Councilor Jackson.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. DeLucio?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Acting President Parika?
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
Fourth motion this evening from the docket of April 2019. I move to approve the request of the mayor to transfer $67,531.63 from account 1124100-578300, citywide reserve fund
Yeah.
for transfer to its accounts as follows.
If you could hang on one
I was
moment.
just going to say, we don't have it listed.
I asked Councilor Delisio to go and speak with our administrative assistant to get the rest of
I
that.
don't have last week's committee, so
That's okay. If we could take a 3-minute recess while we get that information.
sure.
Do you have it?
You have it
Thank you.
from last week? You're a good girl.
Some days are better than others.
Huh?
Some days are better than others, so you want to read it from here.
Thank you.
This is 78. This is 78.
Right here, 67.
Yeah. Let me tell Jay wants that.
Let me read this from
You
again.
can start it all over. We didn't have a second, so it's fine to start from
Okay,
scratch. It's fine.
thank you. The mayor is to approve the request of the mayor to transfer $67,531.63 from account 1124100-578300, citywide reserve fund for transfer to accounts as follows. $10,685 to account 1220100-51000, fire, salary, and wages. $41,846.63 to account 1220100-515030, fire, sick leave, severance, and $15,000 to account 1220100-515075, fire, earned time payments.
Second.
Thank you very much. The motion is in order.
Okay. We did discuss this last week in committee. This is due to retirements and unforeseen retirements on the fire department, so that these people can get their what's justly coming to them. Any comments?
No, any comments or any additional? Thank you very much, Councilor Jackson, for
Thank you.
having our back on that one there. The motion is in order. A roll call vote is required, and we will start with Councilor Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. DeLucio?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Acting President Parika?
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
The
Thank you.
motion passes.
Thank you very much. I have no other business this evening, but we'll request a committee meeting next week.
Thank you, Councilor Blair. Councilor Delisio.
Thank you. Reporting for zoning and land use, there is no business tonight. I would like to call for a meeting next week at the appropriate time.
Thank you.
And reporting for budget and appropriations, I have 2 motions tonight from the docket of April 16, 2019. I move to approve the request of the mayor to transfer $42.97 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account Veteran Salary and Wages regarding the needs for funds to cover salaries for the remainder of fiscal year 2019.
Second.
Thank you very much. The motion is in order. Any comments?
No comments. Discussed this last week in committee.
Any other comments or questions? This requires a roll call vote, and we will start with Councilor Jackson.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Delicio?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Acting President Parika?
Yes,
8 yeas, 0 nays.
the motion passes.
From the docket of April 16th, 2019, I move to approve the request of the mayor to transfer $3,000 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account collective postage regarding the need for funds for postage for the remainder of fiscal year 2019.
Second.
Thank you very much. The motion is in order. Any comments?
Again, this is pretty straightforward.
Thank you very much. Any additional comments or questions? Okay, this requires a roll call vote, and we will start with Councilor Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Delicio?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Acting President Parika?
Yes,
8 yeas, 0 nays.
motion passes.
Thank you. Next week, I know it'll be long because we have the special meeting, but Council Conti, I would like to discuss next week, start that discussion we've been talking about with the capital improvements, funding plan, the budget, just kind of get that. It's hard for us to connect where we're on the same committee, but I think I'd like to take, a few minutes to at least get that conversation started next week.
That's Monday at 5:30?
No, it's the 23rd, Tuesday, prior to, during our committee meeting next week. And that is all the business I have for budget and appropriations. Would like to call for a committee meeting next week at the appropriate time.
Thank you, Mr. Delicio. Councilor Dolan.
Reporting for Licenses Committee, I have one motion this evening from the docket of April 16, 2019. I move to approve the application for a Class 2 license from Lafayette Auto Repair located on 97 Emery Street, Attleboro, for buying and selling secondhand motor vehicles.
Second.
Thank you very much. That motion is in order. Any comments?
No, we discussed this last week in committee.
Any other questions or comments? This requires a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
That's all
So
the business.
that's seven, sorry, just 7 and 1 abstention. Just gonna get my notes down, sorry.
That's
Please
all-
continue.
That's all the business I have for Licenses Committee this week. I'd like to call for a hearing, a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
I'm sorry, that I set you all, you were perfect, and then I messed you all up, so my apologies for that. Councilor Reynolds.
Reporting for City Property and Claims Committee from the docket of April 2nd, 2019. I move to approve the request of the mayor in accordance with Section 1-12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro to accept the following donations. Moon for the Coelho Butterfly Garden valued at $126 from Megan and Scott Dominici and Leo and Laura Costinos. Physical education equipment valued at $756 from the West PTO. And an Insignia 55 Class LED 2160p Smart 4K UHD TV with HDR Fire TV edition valued at $329.99 for Willett's Music Classroom from the West PTO.
Second.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you very much. That motion is in order. Any comments?
No, I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Anyone else have questions or comments? This requires a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
From the docket of April 16th, 2019, I move to approve the request of the mayor in accordance with Section 1-12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro to accept the donation of $50 in Stop and Shop gift certificates from Lori Scales in honor of Gus's random act of kindness to celebrate World Down Syndrome Day on March 21st to the Veterans Department.
Second.
Thank you very much. The motion is in order. Any comments?
No, I think we discussed this last week and again mentioned that we were thrilled that Lori Scales does this.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? They might have to wait a little bit of time to be able to redeem that gift card, but
No.
this requires a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
From the docket of April 16th, 2019, I move to approve the request of the mayor to declare the following Public Works Department equipment as surplus and available for disposition. A 1987 Bombardier sidewalk tractor, it's in very poor condition, and a 2000 International utility trailer, also in very poor condition.
Second.
Thank you very much. The motion is in order. Any comments?
No, pretty self-explanatory.
Thank you. Any?
I did read the bid numbers last week.
Yes, we did. Any other questions or concerns? This requires a roll call vote, and we will start with Councilor Jackson.
Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Delicio?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Acting President Parika?
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
The motion passes.
City Property and Claims has no further business this evening, but I would like to call a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you very much. Did we call, Councilor Waterman, can you call for an ordinance committee meeting for next week, please?
Yes, I make a motion
If you just,
that we have an ordinance committee meeting next week
at the appropriate time.
at the appropriate time. I'm not sure that's a motion.
That's good enough. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
We don't have any old business. We do have some new business, so I will recognize Councilor Delicio.
Thank you. I move to refer the following matter to the appropriate committee for study and recommendation. New business, a special use stabilization account be created for the purpose of funding special education for the Attleboro Public Schools.
Second.
Thank you very much. That motion is in order. Any comments?
Yeah, I have a few. So this is something that I started conversation with Deb Gould back in December, January. It was brought to my attention by a former chairman of the Wakefield, Mass. Financial Committee. And we were having a little conversation about some of the struggles we're having, especially with special ed, where it's really kind of a moving target every year. It's not something we can budget for appropriately or accurately better, because we never know who's coming in and who's coming out. So we could have 5 students who are staying in the district this time next year. We could have 5 that are coming in. So I figured that this would be a good way to start to build, well, just some stability through a stabilization account. I spoke with Barry Lacasse about it back on March 22nd as well, and he indicated that he would be in favor of this because this was actually in the 5-year sustainability plan that former Mayor Dumas and Barry had in front of the school committee. So as it turns out, this is something that the mayor and Barry, I realized the day after I submitted this, I read in the paper that it's something that they're working on anyway. So I think it would be good to still keep it in committee to have that synergy with what the administration's trying to achieve. And if it comes down to it, we strike it, then we strike it. But I think at this point, I think it's important to show that show of uniformity, that we're looking at different ways to ensure that we're trying to plan for the things that we can't necessarily plan. And Council Conti, again, I think this is kind of some of the stuff that you and I have been talking about now for probably 2 or 3 years, if not longer, that we can start looking at things a little bit differently. So I'm sorry for the elongated explanation, but this is where we're at this point.
Thank you very much. Any questions or? This requires a voice vote to be referred to committee. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And I refer that to the Budget Committee. Thank you. Just a couple quick little things before we adjourn for the evening. So next week is a special meeting, so we'll have committee and then the full council after that. We do have a couple of public hearings that we've called for, so I expect it to be a little bit of a lengthy evening, but we'll do the best. Virginia and I will do the best over the course of the next week to get all the information out to you that we can. Other than that, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. And we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, tonight. You too.
Good job.